Welcome. You are a Road to QA student that enrolled last year, right?
Yeah,
And
last
you,
year in June.
okay. So Alana, recently you experienced a layoff and then you
Yeah.
landed another job. Can you tell us your journey into Road to QA? What made you choose Road to QA and kind of start there?
Okay. So I have attended college before in the past. But after switching my major so many times, the last major that I settled on was computer science. I just felt like it fit my personality, allowed me to be an introvert and still make a decent amount of money. But I ran out of funding. So I ended up having to drop out of school. And for a while, for some years, I just decided to just let that whole dream go. But I was at a job that I hated, and I was at an office job, and I was only making $40,000 a year, and I was applying for other jobs. And I've never really had a hard time getting a job, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't getting any interview requests or anything. And probably like after a month of continuously applying on a regular basis, the only people that reached out to me, they were offering me less than what I was already making. So I didn't even respond to that, but I was on my phone at my desk while I was literally in the office, and I was just scrolling through Instagram, and I saw your ad campaign, and I was like, okay, well, this is a Black woman. Let me go. Let me see what she's talking about. They're talking about tech, and I looked at your page, and then I went to the website, and I think I had a credit card that had like a $2,000 limit. I literally only had like the amount of the course. It was just enough left on there for the amount of the course. I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna go
So
ahead. Just
that
gonna
was
max this
what,
thing out.
497, 597, somewhere in there, or 300?
597, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, this, I don't know, I got a 600 left on here. So this don't have to be it because I'm ready to get up out of here.
All right.
So as soon as I paid for it and I got all the login stuff taken care of, I was literally doing it on my phone at work because I didn't want to do it on the computer. But I was literally doing it around the clock. I was working on it at home. I was working on it at work, everything. And I went through it and literally like, I want to say it was like about 10 to 14 days, maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. And I just kept on going through it religiously. And I redid my resume using like the method that you said, where, think of what you do on a regular basis, but turn it into the perspective of a QA. So that's what I did. And
Ask you something. If I could just ask you something real quick, because
Mhm.
now when you see Road to QA got a whole internship, all right?
Yeah, yeah,
And you didn't have that version then.
no.
Like you have access, like, everyone has access for the, like if you want to go through now and go through
hmm
one of you've actually landed jobs. So I think you're good at this point.
I was getting the emails for those updates too. I was like, internship. Hmm.
Now that came from trying to make it better for you guys. But
hmm
so you didn't have that version. How does it feel to know that you didn't have all the hands-on that, from me directly, but you
hmm
you had to take, that first version of
Yeah.
QA and do that. Like, how does that make you feel? Like, do you think your journey would have went quicker? Or, I mean, all honesty, right? Because I
I
hands-on.
feel like uh with I feel like because of the predicament I was in, it was like literally the only way that I could have failed is if I didn't try.
Mm.
So I don't necessarily regret. I think that it's a great pleasure to be able to have somebody walking you hand by hand and do the internship and having the mentorship aspect of it and all of that. I think that's a really, really good thing. But I think for me personally, because I was already so motivated and I was just so dissatisfied with my circumstances, I literally obsessed over the course. Like I wasn't going to not do it. I feel like it was impossible, but I feel like also some people need that extra push and that level of accountability. I feel like I'm able to work independently because this isn't like my first rodeo with the whole me me actually taken courses and stuff online, but none of them have yielded these type of results. So either.
Right. Right. So with you being able to speak to your jobs and seeing that QA perspective, how we teach you on Road to QA, how did you feel in the interview? How did you feel? Like, did you feel authentic? Did you feel like like you wasn't imposterous because you actually did the stuff? You just turning it around so you could speak to say, this is how I know QA and this is how I applied it at my previous job. Like, tell me your thoughts behind it.
Well, I did feel like a imposter like internally, but I'm very good at like acting and stuff like that. So like if I know that I went through and I tried these things and went through all the homework and I focused on the testing, the types of testing that I was able to conceptualize a little bit better. I literally like pulled out the more simplistic or the concepts that I was able to grasp the most. And those are the ones that I made sure that I only spoke to. I didn't speak to API because it was a little bit more intricate than I was willing to do. So I did feel like an imposter. We all know how it feels to like have that first interview. You're like, gosh, how technical is it gonna get? Like, and I'm so nervous. Yeah, like, oh man, I'm turning into sweaty Betty. But then once you break that ice, and you're like, that wasn't bad at all. I was shooting for no reason. Like, yeah, after that, I felt like less of an imposter. But then you have to deal with the next thing of when you get the offer, and then you like, okay, now I have to go and sit down and actually work with these people. And this is going to be my life on a day-to-day basis. And now I'm scared. Now I'm scared again. It's like now I'm going through imposter syndrome again, but I was blessed enough to have, even though I got laid off after a few months, my first role was a UAT tester. I doubled my salary with that role, but
hold on, what was the salary?
My salary on my first role was $80,000.
So you doubled your income on your first QA position.
Yes.
Go, girl. Tell us about that. How was that journey going to that job? How was day one? How was your week?
The first day was pretty cool. They made sure they started me. Okay, babe, get that.
How many babies you got?
I only have one. She's 4. Yeah. So that first day they made sure that, you know, that I would start off like fairly slow and stuff like that. And we had a building here, but I had a role that was kind of like an optional remote type of thing. Okay. So it was just like you can go in one day a week if you'd like to. So use your own discretion and all of that type of stuff. Excuse me.
I was a part of the process too. I was back here while she was studying and while she was going.
Go play. But so they actually made sure that they started me off like really slow. It was a very all-inclusive you know, type of environment. It was a very small team and stuff like that. So they were everybody was just super open to like teaching me or something like that. Oh, I'm not familiar with that, or blah, 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 blah. You know, how you teach us to paraphrase certain things and, you know, not over talk yourself, but at the same time, you know, have a sense of like honesty, you know, that's fine line. So that was actually a great first role. But I do feel like the role that I'm in now, it was a bit of a hop, skip, leap, and a jump.
Okay.
It's a senior role. It's a senior role. So yeah, it's a senior role.
Yeah. And can we say how much now?
Yeah. That role, so I got laid off in November after 4 months. I didn't land another job and receive another offer until like the first week of February. And this role is 90. It's 90,000.
Okay. So how was that journey and how was that feeling when you got laid off and in between? Like how did you feel because I mean, like the truth is it doesn't matter. We're still in jobs, right? You learned the skill that you now had your return on investment with, but obviously I'm sure you wanted the job to be long term. But how did that feel to have to get back in the market, but now with the skill again? Like, was you more confident? Did you feel like, you know what, ain't on going back, or like what was the feeling like? Was you scared? Was you just like, I don't know if I'm gonna get another one? Like, what was the feeling?
Well, because of how it was done, I was blindsided and I didn't see it coming, and it wasn't really like a heads up thing. It was like oh yeah, log off your computers type stuff. And it was multiples of us that this happened to all at once.
Yeah.
So I think when I first got into the market, I underestimated it being fourth quarter, us being at what, is supposedly a recession and all of that type of stuff, because in my mind, I always looked at tech as like being recession proof, which it can be depending on your role or the type of company that you're at. I was at a smaller company. Mm-hmm. So I think I underestimated how long it would take me to get back into it, because like I said, I was having so many interviews. My first time around, it's the month of July, and I'm getting interviews and I'm skipping over certain jobs that were paying more, like $55 an hour, to take this $80,000 a year type of job, because I knew the money was going to be there. But if something felt like a better fit, mm-hmm. I just felt like I was having my way basically. And I expected that same turnaround, but business 101, people, it costs to hire people, and people want to finish in the green for the end of the year. It's November 15th. Holidays around the corner. Well, ain't nobody about to hire. Little did I know, ain't nobody about to hire you.
But they do still hire. It's just a different volume of what you're dealing with, right? I mean, right. It's reality. So I don't want you to ever think like you can't, because we definitely have people land them around that time. But it's just the truth that people are on vacation. One person may be in the office, another one not, so they gotta wait. Or like you said, budget at the end of the year. So, so from there, so you said you was maybe not working for how long?
I did not. I was having multiple interviews, but I did not actually receive my offer for this role until like the first week of February. And I actually, this week was my first week on Monday.
Okay. All right. So you was out 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah. Yeah. About 2.5 months. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna give your business as you one question. I don't know if you want to answer it, but so with you jumping kind of from doubling your income, even though at this point we need a job, were you very affected financially? Or were you decent? How how was that journey now? Like you came from 40K, but now you were at a range where for months or just 4 or 5 months you was making almost 80. Now with you having no job, did it affect you a lot? Did you feel scared? Did you feel worried? Like
initially I was not worried because I actually stay at home still. I'm at home with my mom. I moved back probably a couple of years ago. But I did think that was going to be the job that was going to allow me to have that level of, independence, and that, I'm about to be able to live on my own because of, this accomplishment and stuff like that. So after a few weeks of having recruiters call but ghost out of nowhere before you're even able to get the interview and stuff like that, after a while, it did start to wear on me mentally and emotionally. Like, damn, did I get to this point just to, I referred to myself in those times when I was being kind of pessimistic, or I was losing my optimism, as like a fall from grace. That's what I was referring to it as. And then I had got put on unemployment, but to be going from, a point to where your checks are like $2,500 every 2 weeks to them giving you $280 after taxes every week, it's just like, whoa. Excuse me, what? But because I did I was good at managing my money, I didn't really start to feel the struggle until like probably after the new year, probably the last month leading up to this role. It was probably like February was when I was like, okay, all right, I gotta pay my life insurance policy. I need to pay my car insurance. My car is thankfully paid for, but it was things like that where it was just kind of like, okay, it's starting to pile on.
Yeah. So, congratulations. So, is this a direct hire? Is this how do you feel about this job?
Yeah, it is. It's a direct hire role. I've interviewed for contract jobs, but I haven't actually done one. This one, it is a senior, like I said, it's a senior role, and it is for a manual testing position, but we do automation, and I have yet to do any automation. And of course, I was honest about that. Yeah, I do want to. It's just a little bit, intimidating, but we do use Catalan Studios. So actually did a virtual, like, high-level overview training call for about an hour yesterday on it with one of my coworkers. So she was showing me how it looks. And I bought a course on Udemy over it as well. So to try to, get ahead of it. But I think the only thing about this job is that it's like being back in that big company culture
Okay.
that I really am not a fan.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they actually, I have to go in the building twice a week too, which is, it's not 5 days, no, but I have gotten spoiled by the whole full remote thing, and that's always going to be a preference for me. But you have to do what you got to do. So yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things. Like, you talking about a few things is, I think we showed I got an offer, right? I got a job. But what happens behind the scenes with the reality of job layoffs, recessions, that can happen across any industry. Not just because it's tech doesn't mean is what is secure is your skill set.
Yeah.
And in positioning.
It definitely was very humbling.
So it keeps you on your toes, right? I think that this is for me, to you, to everyone, to realize that people they're screaming tech, but remember I say road to QA isn't just in tech. I mean, not road to QA, but QA isn't just in tech. QA is all around us in every industry because they have to, validate and test products across industries, applications, quality, even like quality control and stuff like that. But one thing I love about it is that it's not just tech, but it is in tech. However, it's still a job. I personally don't believe in job security. I believe in skill set.
I don't anymore either. Like, people always say, oh, job security, stability, and all of that. You'll always be disposable as long as it's about you making somebody else, rich, or you just being a little worker bee. You'll always be disposable. So while you're getting this excess income, it's up for you to, turn that money into little soldiers and to make something of it, because you create your own stability.
Absolutely. And that's kind of like what I feel is always my message is let's try to make more so we can live more and create more and fund a better life, right? Let's not stop it. We're just making, because that can always be taken away as long as someone else is cutting a check. But we can make more. It does feel good to make more, right? I'm pretty sure it feels good.
Absolutely. The first thing I do when I get an offer, or even when I'm like just talking to people, if they tell me what it is up front, I start to calculate my check after taxes. Let me see if this is worth my time. And then even like, it seemed like the offers and the amount of money that we were talking about this at the beginning of the new year, after the new year, it's just the money didn't seem like it was exactly the same. People are trying to get me to take jobs that are like paying like lower 30-something dollars an hour. And I'm just like, no, I can't do that. Despite me being laid off and I know I need a job, I'm telling people, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So,
and with that takes you to maintain your skill and still stay a little bit above the rest. Like you said, you don't have to go automation. You can go more project management, Scrum Master, VA, or maybe you do tap into API or that. You have to choose. From here is you choosing what lane is that path of either a leadership, a project management path, or a skill set path, so that you can maintain your skills. But the bottom line is, with AI and automation, there's still testing is going to be needed. It's just going to be what's going to be the level of your skill set so you can still be able to land those jobs, right? And I think that's actually the truth of the matter is, like, AI and automation is actually, they're getting rid of 90 million jobs, but they're creating jobs because someone still has to create automation, maintain it, and test it. And what side are you going to be on? And I think we forget that. But the problem is that we're so damn lazy. Excuse my language. I'm sorry, baby. Sorry. We tend to get used to just going into work and doing the work and getting paid for that. And then we go home. Well, those jobs are the jobs that AI is replacing for $20-something an hour or less.
Right. I've been looking at that too. I'm just kind of like, okay. So that started making me thinking about pivoting. Like, of course, yes, I want to stay in tech, but now I've started to look at the possible, risk and compliance and cybersecurity aspects of it, because it's still a way for me to still increase my income by about 30,000, or better, but it might be less technical and is things that I would have to do where they would need me, where I can come in and audit it or actually look at them or advise them and tell them like, hey, uh, let's look and see what's going on with these things, or, this isn't up to code or whatever it may be. So I thought about looking at that too as a possibility.
I love
So,
that. And that's what I want. I love that you said that, because I don't expect y'all to come to QA and then that's where you stay. I want you to find out where, like, I think after you've done QA, like you said, cybersecurity and all that, cybersecurity, what is that? Cloud computing, if you got the brain for that, mine kind of tight after that. But I think all of those are great avenues. I love to say road to QA is about you landing that first one, and then you decide which way you want to go. Now you take that money and you live a better life, but you keep your skills up to date so that you can keep that check up to date.
Right, exactly. It's definitely about just always continuing to grow and learn and trying not to get content. And I think that the whole layoff situation was a good lesson for me too, because I thought that I was possibly going to spend a little bit longer time there, because I taught my guy about QA and stuff like that too, and he also landed a role as well. But he asked me, he was like, so how long you think you're going to stay at this job? And boom, boom. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, she teaches us to, always continue to keep on going and looking. I said, but, I'm a person that's always been used to giving jobs X amount of years of my life, even though I know that I'm ultimately don't want to retire from any company. I want to retire myself, and I do have an entrepreneurial spirit, but I do find myself like getting comfortable with something or being like, oh, well, this is pretty easy money. And I almost feel like y'all giving it away to me. I think I'm gonna just sit here. But that's also a good learning lesson for me as well. Like, yeah, I'm in the senior role, and the person apparently that I'm filling in for, they were a manager and they're actually retired after 30 something years. But they made sure to tell me no pressure when they said that in the interview. I asked the question, and that's what revealed that they wasn't going to tell me. But yeah.
So how are you feeling with that? How is that role? You a senior? Hold on. You so senior manager? Hold on. What is the girl? Let me know.
So they have the role title is listed as a senior QA, and it said like 7 years, but my resume only speaks to 6. But I had to do 4 rounds for this role. I've never done such a thing in my life. It was 4 rounds, and that was very discouraging too. I'm just like, because I'm like the third one, I was just kind of like, okay, and you know what? I don't even care no more, because it's just doing too much. Like, I was like, you don't really have no more other Bible prospects right now. Just see it through. It was 4. I met with the manager, then I met with the VP of IT, then I met with the IT architect, and then I had to the last one was with the HR business partner. I said, oh, this is the person that's going to really be having her hands in what's going to determine my salary. It was evident. But like, I was like, it's giving very much BIP, because why does everybody have to see me to come to, like, right. We all want to meet her.
Right. How did that feel when they chose you after 4 though? How, like, with all that you've been through, how did that feel to get the offer and say like, wow, I didn't give up and I still got it, where I can get through 4 freaking people?
I didn't have like, I'm used to like getting through, but 4 was just so excessive, where I just felt like if it's this excessive, I don't feel like I may be your person, or I might be a little in over my head. But for them to still come to that conclusion, and then they were moving so fast, like I was doing 2 of the interviews in like one in the same week. So they were moving so fast, and it was just but that was always reassuring as well when I would get, and then they found me. The recruiter works at the same company, and he actually found me. So which it was the same thing with my last job too. They found me, and they just tend to be direct hires. But yeah, so when they actually did land on it, and they called me, I want to say the manager called me. It was probably like 6 p.m, and she offered me the role, and she said what the amount was. She said it was for $90K, and I was just like, oh, absolutely, thank you, blah blah blah. And it was, yeah, I think it was pretty good. I am still going through the motions of like, new job, what I'm anticipating. I do still have feelings of like possibly being a little bit overwhelmed because this is a big retail company and they own 14 different shoe companies and 14 different websites. So
what is the overwhelm for you though? Why would you feel overwhelmed by that?
I think it's because it's going to require a bunch of skills that I haven't actually reviewed since the initial me doing the course. I haven't had to revisit those skills. Because my last job was just a UAT tester.
Gotcha. But okay, so so that was your last job, and so but you obviously stood in what you knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel that they understand where you are and like why they chose you? Like, so my question is like, do you feel comfortable that they're okay with your level though, to bring you up to that?
I do, because I make sure that I don't overspeak on what I'm not comfortable with. And I do try to keep a level of like full transparency and honesty. Like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with Catalan Studios. I'm familiar with it in the capacity of using just the record and playback method. I do not code. I have made that very clear to them. And they were like, okay, that's fine. Most of your testing will be manual, but we are moving more towards automation. We've only been using Catalan for the past year. They use TestRail. I have not used TestRail either. Not in the real working world.
Once you learn it, it's like any other testing, but I'm not really a fan of is it TestRail? I think TestRail. Yeah, I think it's TestRail. I'm not really the interface, but once you
I think, and then also their releases. They do 3-week releases. So releases like every 3 weeks, which is much faster than what my last release cycle was. I was working in Waterfall, and ours was, they wanted to be agile so bad, but they couldn't get it together.
Right.
So our releases, we just had much more time. So we would sit there and we would have a lot of time where we would just tinker around and twiddle our fingers. We'd be on the clock. But we wouldn't have anything to do, so we were essentially getting paid to do nothing until they are assigning the tickets. So I was really on easy street. So they assign the tickets, and then we start to work. And we have like probably 4 weeks before that had to be completed. And once I know how many tickets I have 10 tickets. I'm done with mine in probably the 7 to 10 days because I don't like my work to linger over me. So I'm knocking them out, and then I'm back to twiddling my fingers again. Oh, it's time to test. What environment? Okay. Yeah.
But needless to say, you actually had regardless of the layoff, you actually had a good first job.
Yeah, really. It felt like it was wrong.
Did you ever hear me say
this is legal?
Hey, hold up, 90,000? I don't know, or 85, whatever you 80. Like really? So I know you said you was 80 there, or
it was 80 there, and I'm getting.
So you're 10,000 more here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going up. So my last question is going to be, and then I'm by with you real quick, so you can have your day back. My last question is going to be, how do you feel now? How do you feel with this job? Do you feel like, I'm still as a newbie, I'm still kind of going through this. I don't know if I'm gonna be scared of trying to do what they trying to teach me. Let me stay in the market. I don't know. Like, where are you at with that? Like, because you just heard the person was there for 35 years. So you talked about you still long-term company. So what do you feel that you're going to have to do if you want to be there long?
I feel that, I feel like I do have a lot to learn. There is a huge opportunity to be able to learn at this job and use, different software and stuff like that. I did do what we did was a web-based application at the last job, but it wasn't actually websites. You just accessed it from the intranet rather. But it was a mortgage-based company, the last company I was at. But this company, like I said, it's e-commerce, it's retail. There are 14 big shoe brands, and we manage all of those, and we are doing simultaneous releases on all of these websites. And I guess my mind gets to thinking, okay, we got 14 websites. How many test cases are we getting? Because I mean, I don't understand. Like, there's only 4 of us, and I thought I just heard you say that you did like 20-something test cases last time. So was that manual or what? Like, my mind, if I think too much, it will get away from me. But I also know that, like, okay, for me, I'm not in the market, but it's not like I'm actually turned away from it. I will respond to an email if I see that something good comes across. But like I said, because I'm looking to pivot possibly into cyber, I don't feel like it would be necessarily just like, justified for me to go ahead and just try to jump ship, because it seems like it'll be overwhelming. Because like I said, it's still a lot that I can learn from this place. So I'm trying not to become overwhelmed, because I was on Easy Street at the last job. And then I also had a bit of a vacation in between, although it started to become a little bit stressful towards the end of the vacation. So it's like, are you just spoiled? Or what you thinking is rational? Or is this like a rational or irrational fear? Like, what's happening here? So I'm trying not to overthink and talk myself out of a possibly a good thing.
Right. I love that, because the truth of the matter is, you hear the remote opportunities, but you're still going to have jobs that want you on site or want you hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is, you learning the skill was ultimately so that you can keep money coming in.
Right.
And I'm sure that you want it remote all the way, but at the end of the day, you making $40,000-$50,000 more, whether you got to go in or not. That ain't $10,000 more from 40K. That's 40, 50.
Right. And I was thinking about that. I was just like, first of all, girl, you left that job in July. I started July 5th as an actual tester as my first role. You have increased your salary by $50,000 in the grand scheme of things. Like, you've increased your salary by $50,000 in literally 6-7 months. How dare you complain? This is why I have to talk myself back.
You can name my investment back. You
myself back into the frequency of like gratitude. Like,
right.
Come on now. It's 2 days. It ain't completely 100%. You got spoiled by that too. It's 2 days, but it's a 20-minute drive. It's not that bad of a drive. It's 2 days. You get to pick the 2 days you go in. That's it.
And you know what? And I feel you though, because if someone told me I had to come in, my situation is even harder because I live in Cabo. So my pipeline gets thinner, right? So my pipeline gets thinner, and I don't work multiple now. I just keep one, but I found a freelance one that I now work, and that's like you say, easy. I actually undercut myself because it's so simple, and I had to sign so many NDAs. I don't talk about it, but it's so simple and it doesn't require much, but I could still live where I'm at. So it does what I need to do. So like you said, that I don't want to call it a sacrifice, right? But in this season, I get to run my business, keep my money coming in, run my business, grow that, and then I could keep skilling myself, because I was going to get in the market for Scrum and stuff like this, or try to even challenge myself with a higher QA job in automation, right? So so sometimes you gotta see, what that season is, and a lot of times we're trying to jump into the season of like you said, you had all remote, so you got spoiled with that. But let's go back to what's the principle? I need money.
Right.
You have the ability to land for 80K, 90K jobs. Now it's just, are you going to show up for it, whether they want you remote, on site, or hybrid? Whether if it's a long term or like you can if you can be picky and say, yeah, I want a direct hire, but if a contract is still offering you something, you had no money tomorrow, you're gonna say, no, I'm not gonna take it. And contracts still pay more most of the time.
Yeah, they do. Because I was looking at another one that was offering like 45, but they was just moving so slow. But it was 100% at home. But they was just moving so daggone slow. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take the job. But that was 100% remote. But it was just like, y'all getting on my nerves.
Right. So ultimately you have in the pipeline of opportunity. So now it's like, what does Alana want to do? Like you said, now I'm hearing cybersecurity. I love that. Like, I can't wait to know you got your high six figures cybersecurity, because I know them jobs be paying, girl. But like, you can use this and leverage all that you learn here, and you're already in that QA realm and quality realm, right, of assurance. Man, that sounds like to me an even easier pivot to learn cybersecurity skill set. And now your career, you sitting on a career, and skill that you don't never got to worry about a job again. You can get real picky once you go into all that. I think, like people, I want everyone to always know, and I'm sure you guys know as my RTQers, that I don't ever want you to just stay in QA. This QA is me exposing you that we can do this.
Right,
it doesn't
right.
have to be hard. It doesn't,
you don't have to be at the help desk, but you ain't got to sit there and,
Yeah, you're gonna have to put a little work into this. You're gonna have to get a higher level yourself.
You ain't got to be a brainiac maniac and I'm doing C++. No,
right.
But and I've told people also around me about the course as well. I tried to get my brother into it, and I think he might have looked at like one of the assignments on there, and he was just kind of like, "Man, please, I ain't got time for that." That's a lot of work, dog. I'm like, it's not super tech, but I think that especially Black people, we hear that, oh, somebody works in tech, and all of a sudden we think they some neurosurgeons, and that it's just, they get so intimidated by it that it's just like they don't want to hear it. But then the money entices them. I'll be like, well, I double my salary, and then they be like, tell me more.
But what they don't hear is that you have that baby behind the scenes and you put in the work. And you did it prior with no internship. You put in that work. You was not just consistent, you was persistent no matter what. And then even with that, because people could hear your story like, oh, well, you did it, but then you got laid off. Anyone can get laid off. She ain't, like
that. I don't work for myself now. If it was up to me, you have to know what's in your realm and your scope of control and what you're not in control of. So I can have going to the job market tomorrow and be like, oh, you have to be paying me over 100K or whatever, but I know that I'm in control of me not accepting the roles that might come my way, and me accepting what I accept and what I don't accept. But I can't force anyone else to be like, hey, you got to pay me this. No, you don't get to count something else that I'm not in control of against me as a strike against me. That don't mean I didn't do my part or that I'm inadequate in some way, shape, or form. I wasn't fired. I was let go, and they actually gave me a nice severance package for a person that was there for 4 months. Commas, okay? So, they was nice to you, girl.
But then you come back with $10,000 more. Now, yes, that's going to require a higher level of Alana. At that point, now it's the question is, what are you willing to? Are you willing to keep this up? Are you willing to keep up your skill set? Are you willing to show up to the job? Or say, you know what, I got spoiled back here, so I go work for 80 or 70K just to have a simpler role, right? Like, I mean, because I'm not gonna lie, I have done that before where I landed one where, and it wasn't. Really, it wasn't. It was because they did a very heavy database stuff, and I was very early, like you said, in my career, and so I just decided I didn't want to deal with it, and I backed out, and I was able to then go find a job that actually paid me $10,000 more with less, right? So it's possible that you can find software that's more, a company that's more simple, workflows more, and then you actually make more. But the truth of the reality is, if I had no job, I would have kept the job, right? That just means that I had to do the work.
But you knew you had options, and you also had to leverage. Right.
Right. Well, I think I asked you everything. And at this point, I just want to ask you, before I get off and like vibe with you real quick, how do you feel overall about your journey, your investment in road to QA, and how has this changed your life? Just in a simple, I don't know.
Man, like, I think me and my guy, we talk about this all the time, and it was just kind of like a thing. And he actually is a college graduate from HBCU, but I'm not a college graduate. And I think that's a part of the main lie of the American dream is like, work hard, go to school, get you a degree so you can land you a great job. But then even in those supposed great jobs, you'll probably graduate college with more debt than your actual annual salary. So I think this provided me with an opportunity, and then going into tech and knowing that, like, once you actually in tech, you start to learn that a lot of those people are self-taught. Them web developers and all that type of stuff, front end, back end, a lot of them are self-taught. Some of those cybersecurity people that do the white hat hacking, or the ethical hacking that they call it, they do that stuff and they've taught themselves. So, and then there's so many boot camps. It's just a really good thing to see. Like, I started to see so many boot camps after I took the vote to QA. Right. And it was kind of like, man, they really making a way out of no way. I really appreciate it, because there's no way. I knew that I wanted to make X amount of dollars. And of course, I saw it being another way, me getting to almost a 6-figure salary. I thought that I would have to do something in the form of like me being an entrepreneur. Let me grab this business loan. Let me magically flip this loan and have this rags to riches type of like story. My story looked a little bit different, but it's still a story of me, you know, taking charge of being motivated and something being like divinely brought to me. As soon as I said, screw it, and literally deleted this last funky little job offer after the only offer I got for 1 month and maxing out my credit card at a $40,000 a year job to turn around and double it. And the moment that I redid the resume and I put it up on Dice, I didn't start applying for anything. I didn't think because I set up the profile and uploaded the resume that I would get a call. I literally thought that I was going to have to fill out stuff. They started calling me, and I said, I don't know who this is calling me. And then they sent the text, the recruiter, and I was like, they're trying to talk to me about a job. What do I do? No, I'm not ready. He was like, you better answer that phone. No, talk to me, answer that phone. So I say all that to say that it's a blessing. It really is a blessing. Like, my first role that I had, I told my brother what I made, and my significant other, but I never told my mom or my parents like what I actually made on that first job. I feel like the moment that you start to tell people like you're the golden goose and the pressure becomes on you and you're the chosen one. I did tell my mom this last time, and she couldn't believe. She was like, you know, the first person, even in our extended family, you the first person to like do something like this. And yeah, we got degrees and masters and bachelors and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they still haven't, you know, done it. And then I talked to my dad, and he was calling me and checking in on me and stuff like that. And he was like, how your job hunt been going? I said, yeah, you know the job I've been doing the interviews for? Yeah, they offered me the job. And he was like, but they paying you. I said, oh, they giving me 90. And he was in the doctor's office in the waiting room. His voice started cracking. He started crying. Almost 33 years of me being on this earth. And my dad is like a superhero. He likes superhuman to me. I've never seen him cry. I've never heard him cry. And I went to his mom's funeral and I never saw it. So he was like, you're just so smart. You're just so beautiful. And you're the only girl I got. And I'm just very impressed with you. I'm very impressed. You a hustler, and you're just very smart. I'm just like, oh, okay. It was like, that's when I realized what I was doing, because sometimes you on go mode so much, and you just always going and trying to push yourself to the next level. You really don't sit back and you sit still and actually observe what you are actually doing. You might not give yourself enough credit until you talk to someone else that's not doing that, and they're on the outside, and then they say stuff like that to you. That's when it actually like hit me, because I knew that I had already had a job that I was making like just $10,000 less, and I've gotten bigger offers in the past, but that was when it was like, damn, I really am like.
Well, in 1 year, Alana, you have your family members, like you said, that degrees, spent years in school, and you talking about you took that in 1 year. Yeah. All that time that other people has put in, and you changed your life with just a yes. And then even when the layoff came, you still came back.
Yep. I knew that I couldn't like turn back to like going back to, I never got, you know, so down or so like depressed or to the point to where it was just kind of like, damn, I'm finna just go and talk on somebody's phone. Thank you for calling such and such.
Right.
Like, and
Girl,
I'm
you
like,
done seen,
no,
I know what them checks look like. You done double joke your checks. You like, I ain't trying to go back to
I'm
that.
not doing that. What am I gonna be getting? Like $900 every 2 weeks or something? Like, I'm not doing that. This is ghetto.
This is beneath me. Like,
I did not do all of that to do this. Like, no. So
wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm forever grateful for you to be a fountain into. It's like you have been like theoretically how you have like those trees that, you know, produce these great like fruits, and then the fruits have seeds and all that type of stuff. And you could just, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. For you to go and stumble upon this opportunity yourself in your own personal life and then just turn around. And I know that you've done it with your husband and your family and stuff like that too. And then to give it to us for a significantly, because I know it's other sites out there. I've seen them boot camps charging them thousands of dollars.
girl,
Y'all crazy.
$2,500.
I was just like, y'all crazy. Jennifer would never, ever.
Look, I'm trying to be the fountain, right? But no, unfortunately, you're gonna still have people that have allowed life to get in the way. I can't control that, you know. And then, you know, but the person has to, this with anyone, you got to be willing to just keep going. Like, things are going to happen. It don't matter how much I teach you, you are the person that had to show up. You are the person that still had to say, okay, I got the skill, let me get back into the market. And you still have moments of feeling like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm tired of this. You know, you waiting for your offer. You like, okay, I didn't come this way to, and you got to be willing to, God forbid, you got to be willing to do that again, right? Until you create money outside of any job, you know, to come in for you still, not to say you got to be ready. We're not thinking negative. It's just saying that, just knowing that that's what the process. You know, but you put your belief in your skill set and your experience and your positioning to land a job. And just because one company goes down doesn't mean another company doesn't need you.
Right.
And that's just what you stand on. So, Alana, I want to thank you for speaking with us today. I hope I asked enough questions for everyone and got off your business, but I want to thank you. Thank you for entrusting Road to QA, and you keep going for you, your baby, your family. Like, again, look at what your family said. Like, you don't realize how impressed and how proud people are. Like, you probably hit you hit a breakthrough, you know, like within your family. And to you just like, I'm just trying to get this money so I can live a better life. But
right, I'm just trying to provide for my daughter. And I think that people doing it, if you got disposable income, if you pay your bills, you got a little bit of discretionary income, like, I think that, you know, you may be doing okay. But now, like, when you see your paychecks double, and now I'm up here looking at, you know, I just completed my first week and I get paid bi-weekly because I am an employee, but I'm able to log into this app and I'm able to see what I've made so far. And it's just kind of like, okay, 1 week down, and literally, like, I think it said like 2,700, 2,800.
Yeah, you got me looking at the calculator.
I'm like, let me look at this app real quick.
Right. Right.
Now. I'm like,
girl, you gotta.
Okay, so yeah,
it's
literally like that says it's like 1,400 for the first week. It's like 1,400 for the first week. I'm looking at this app, and
yeah, that's right.
I know that I used to make 1,400, not even that after taxes, when I was making like $40,000 a year. So it's just kind of like, now I know that I'm on the fast track to literally making nearly $6,000 a month. It's crazy.
It ain't crazy. It's for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're about to make a whole lot more with whatever else you're gonna do. This is just your first season. This is just one season. Now, Alana, take this to wherever else you want to be and do so you can keep that check running so you can keep funding a better life. There's nothing, like I think we all want to, not we all want to have money come in, but it still takes money or time and effort to create
Mm-hmm.
something to work for you. So now that's what you're going to start doing. But I mean, it's nothing fun about being in survival. You can't do nothing when you're in survival. You got that baby.
Mm-hmm.
What you can
Yep.
do is being on top of your skills and being highly competitive and understanding that it's going to require a higher level of Alana to keep that happening, to keep that up. So you ain't got to go back down to 40K jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Alana should never make less than 90K. That's where we at now.
Yeah. And that's what I told them at the last job when this recruiter, like actually for this job, when this recruiter was talking to me, we had our first initial conversation, but he was just filling me out and stuff like that. And he was like, so just to pick your brain, we do have a budget set. It's kind of one of those dynamics where like they don't want to say what their budget is because they never really probably intend to give you the top number anyway. So now you guys are both trying to be inconspicuous at this point. So also, what would you what would you be interested in as far as pay? Well, just to give you an idea, I made X amount of dollars in my last role, and just to put it simply, I don't believe in pay cuts. I'd rather just put it like that. I don't believe in lateral moves or pay cuts, and that's what I say. I do prefer to know what I'm getting up front, but I feel like that's enough for someone to know that, oh, we can't do that or we can do that, because I have heard that too. Like, oh, we can't do that. I'm like, okay, I understand. Unfortunately, I have to pass on this opportunity, and I stick to my guns when it comes to stuff like that.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. So I was about to close out. I'm closing out, and how does that feel? Because now you to the point where it's not that Alana can't take a job; it's that Alana is now worth more. So, because you say like you probably could have the phone ring and give you an offer and a remote offer, but maybe they want to give you, like you said, $30-something an hour or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you like,
so
you basically
doing this before I even got that $80,000 role, and my guy used to get mad. He'd be like, "What the hell is your problem?" There's a bank here called the Federal Reserve. We have a Federal Reserve building. It's a bank here, and I was at a job that required me to be in the office X amount of days a week. But like I said, it was an office job. But I'm on the phone and I'm talking to this one telecommunications company. They want a tester. But I did an interview with them. I did the first round, but I didn't like the vibe of it. They wanted my camera on, but they didn't turn theirs on. I just felt like they was kind of like rude, even though I answered like all of the questions that they had. And I just didn't like the energy of it. I was like, okay, if this is indicative of the company culture, I'm okay. Hard pass. So then they came back and they was like, oh, is it about the money? We can offer her more. No, because the money is here. And I know that. Very much so. Then it's other, like I said, the Federal Reserve, they're talking about $55 an hour, but they want you there 5 days a week. And I'm just like, oh no, I'm not doing that. It's like, what is your problem?
Really think about now, we was going through holiday season, but really think about it, you probably might have closed another job, but Alana had her standard. Alana was like, no, it's not checking this. Like,
funny. The priority was for me to like the company culture, number one. Yeah. Number two, I don't want to have to be in nobody's office like every single day a week. Like, we fresh out of a pandemic, it's too many opportunities out here that are at least offering hybrid at minimum. And I've worked jobs where you've had the 3-day thing, 3 days in the office and stuff like that. So when this job came to me, the current job, and said 2, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, there's not necessarily a method to my madness per se, like a drawn out type of thing, like super thorough. It's just like whatever I feel with my gut intuitively. It's just kind of
doing that at 40. Like, if we were still at like 40K, like, like it was used to, like when you was like,
I would have been down there at $55 an hour every day. Yes.
Every day.
Yes, ma'am. How can I help you? You want me to test what?
say, I think that we good from here. I think that God, like we are in a space where at this point, if you still waiting on the job, it's just because you like it ain't checking this box. That's just what it is. Like, so I think you could get, and I think you could close, but I think you like either is not, like you said, hybrid or remote, or it's not in a certain place, or the culture. So you done got picky now. Whereas
because the money there. The money is there. I feel like I got the experience from the little first job. And like I said, I be buying my little Udemy courses and all that stuff, trying to get this information on this GitHub together. So yeah, now I'm up here negotiating and trying to leverage a little bit. And it's okay. I don't back down when you say that you can't do it. Okay, well, I thank you for taking the time to speak to me. I guess you thought I was on fold. No.
That is hilarious, girl. Well, I'm gonna close out. Thank you so much for speaking with us, and virtual hugs, from me to your family. I'm so excited and so happy that you entrust us Road QA. I hope you guys enjoyed this chat, and see y'all.
See you guys.